And then we get started on the radio right at 11:03. So we'll get some folks in and make it happen. Make it happen. All right, welcome in, welcome in. We're going to be getting started in just a second. I got the two mics going on today because I got to make sure that everybody can hear on the radio as well. So I appreciate everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be getting started in just a second. Randall, go ahead and test. Make sure I can hear you.
Yes, you can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you
Testing one,
loud and
two,
clear.
three. Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right. Yes, we're going to be getting started just as soon as I get the okay from the engineer at the station. Welcome in, welcome in. We'll be getting started in just a second. We're waiting for the radio engineer to get on. I want to say welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve. For those of you that do not know, this is actually a syndicated radio station that you all can hear on KBLA Talk 1580, so you can download it as well. But we are waiting on the engineer. Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear. We good? I'm coming on in how many seconds? Yep. Thank you. I appreciate you. And we are live online as well, as you can hear. So thank you and welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. Come on in. Ping a friend. We got some good information, y'all. I learned some stuff. You know, if you're not learning, you are not growing. And so I learned some stuff last week. I talked about this gentleman last week.
We're just trying to close up the wealth gap. Get to this generational wealth. Bet that. We're gonna lift off like a jetpack. Time to tune in, not just speaking real facts. Right here is everything you need. This ain't no get rich quick thing. Create your own economy. Cause we ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Learn from the queen of crypto, your host, Naja Roberts, leading people out of financial slavery through Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Learn to get left behind.
Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast and everybody in between. I'd like to welcome you to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we're just the go-to for good information, and we're gonna break down this bullish world of cryptocurrency. And I need y'all to know that this information is tailor-made for you, our community. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. I don't just do this show to make you change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you, because it absolutely matters. And today is Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. And what an incredible day it is. If today is your birthday, I have to say happy birthday to all of you. For those of you who have not checked your text messages yet, whose birthdays were this week, I just want to say happy birthday to each and every one of you. You made one more rotation around the moon, which means you are blessed because we are here. We are alive and we are able to learn. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what a difference a week makes. There's a lot going on in the cryptocurrency space. I was going to be able to get on today and say that Bitcoin was on sale because I was super excited that the price dropped yesterday. And today I looked at it and it's back up where it was. And I said, oh man, I couldn't even announce the sale of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is on sale, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And I think you'll find out from one of my guests today just how much Bitcoin is on sale and where it has the potential to go. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I do my quote opening up the show. And so I'm going to do something a little bit different today for those of you who are at home, that are listening, that are on your way from church. Please, ladies and gentlemen, understand that we are on a mission from all different fronts to ensure that our community, ladies and gentlemen, is not last to the game. We cannot be last to the game. And there is a quote that my fabulous guest today, whose name is Randall Ware, and we're going to hear from him in just a second because I'm going to do something a little bit different. The quote today says, pay careful attention then to how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. And that comes from Ephesians 5:16. And I'm going to ask Randall to interject on this conversation to tell you why he picked that. I asked him what was his favorite quote, and he gave me that. So, Randall, share with us why that quote.
I like that quote because you know some things, Naja, can be like you read in the Bible and it's sort of like you got to leave it up to interpretation.
Right.
But this one doesn't. It says pay careful attention. So that means you can't just be distracted. And right now, there's a lot of things that's distracting people from the things that they really need to be paying attention to, you know, and it talks about redeeming your time. You know, Bitcoin is a way we believe that will give people their time back in the future. And the Bible says redeeming your time because if you have to redeem something, that means you don't own it in the first place. And for most of us, we don't own our time, you know, and so that's why I like that scripture because I'm big on time and energy and proof of work. And that's what attracted me to Bitcoin, proof of work. Because proof of work, in my opinion, is time and energy.
Proof of work is time and energy. And for those of you that weren't seeing my shirt last week that I had on, and for those of you that don't see my shirt today, it says proof of work, time and energy. And that's one of the big arguments in the cryptocurrency space. Should people be investing in cryptocurrencies that are based on time and energy, or should they be investing in proof of stake? And some of those things you don't even really know are happening behind the scenes, the arguments as to what is the right thing to do, what is the right thing to invest in. For those of you that are just hearing proof of work for the very first time, understand that Bitcoin is on a protocol called proof of work. And Ethereum, which is another cryptocurrency, can be based on proof of stake and several other things, smart contracts. And not that the Bitcoin network can't have smart contracts, because it can, but there's a little bit of a difference, ladies and gentlemen. And so when he says proof of work, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm all about proof of work, because in this space, in fact, when my book comes out, The Queen of Crypto, it really says proof of work. And why is it proof of work? And I know Randall will resonate with what I'm about to say. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are educating in the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency space, you've got to put in the work. You've got to buckle down and help those that need the help the most. And so I was on a conference call for about an hour with my coach. And I've always told you all that in order to coach folks, you got to have a coach. You got to have somebody to be a sounding board. And he was saying to me, Naja, what is most important is either, and he didn't necessarily say it had to be either or, but he said, is the money most important or the philanthropy? And I have to say that in the Bitcoin space, it's both. And they're simultaneously working together because the proof of work on the blockchain, along with the proof of work in the community, is going to come together beautifully to be able to create the wealth we need in our households, in our families, and in our communities. So when we come forward, we will continue this conversation because I have one heck of a guest today, and you are going to love the information that he is going to share. But when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If there's anything that you want to say, you can put it in the chat. I see a comment up there. Hey, Marshila. Hey, Marshila. I haven't seen Marshila in a long time. Since the last time, I go to Vegas often. I should be calling you often, huh? But hi, Marshila. Good to see you. So, Randall, we have the chat open. So I think you can see the chat. Can you see the comments in the chat? So if there's any... Anybody have, you guys feel free to
yes, I do.
The comments are over there. Yeah. So they may have some comments and you can answer those comments. We'll do that towards the end of the show. But welcome to each and every one of you. We have a commercial break. Excuse me. Bless me. Excuse me. We have Randall Ware on. As you can see, he has the Aboriginal Descendants of Turtle Island. And we're going to talk about that and what that means. And we're going to break that down and why they are using Bitcoin to close the wealth gap in those communities. And so just stay tuned. We're going to come back. And then Randall, I know I didn't get a chance to share. We go out on the break right at the 30-minute mark. And then 44 and 55. You don't have to keep up with that, but I'll help you keep up with it as we go in. And the engineer tells me when to come back in and all of those things. And I thank you all for being patient and listening. And I got some good info. So don't click away. You're going to be kind of shocked to know what a turtle island is. I didn't know. I have to admit, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're not taught. And so this is the time to get that information. So ladies and gentlemen, it is going down. So I'm super, super excited about this conversation. And it's raining here in Southern California. It was drizzling in Southern California. It's not raining. So, hey, Rashonda, welcome, welcome. I know you're in Southern California, or at least I thought you were, but it's sprinkling where I am. It kind of lifted just a little bit, but how's the weather there where you are, Randall?
It's sunny in New Mexico. I'm in New Mexico right now.
You're in New Mexico.
I'll be back in Georgia next week.
Okay. Well, welcome. Anybody else want to shout out any of the cities or states that you're chiming in from? Again, we're on KBLA Talk 1580. We are live. That KBLA Talk 1580 is Tavis Smiley's radio station, and this is Ahead of the Crypto Curve. And I'm on Sundays at 11, so please chime in. We have great information about what the cryptocurrency space is doing, what communities like Randall's is doing. And y'all need to know, y'all better catch up. You better catch up. So he's bringing me back in 1 minute. So I got about 60 seconds and we will continue this conversation.
When we come back, you want me to talk about a little bit about what a Doti is about? Yeah,
let's do that. We're going to do that. And I'll lead into it and then introduce you. And again, I got about 30 seconds and we'll be back in. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in to Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I don't even have it up today, but y'all know it's one of those weeks where we got a lot of stuff going on in the cryptocurrency space, but we are definitely going to hear about what you have, sir, and the proper mindset we need to have. All right. And we are back on in about 10 seconds. All right. All right. Welcome forward, everyone. So, I have a fantastic guest today. You know how you just meet people, and sometimes you just know when someone is genuine from the very beginning. Well, I met this gentleman in another business opportunity. I believe at the time I was a full fledged financial advisor, and I was introducing individuals to learning about how to save and invest through life insurance policies and all of these things. And this gentleman just happened to come to the fold of the company that we were working with, and just very genuine, really into making sure that our seniors understood Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and all of these things. And I could tell that his passion was as passionate he was as passionate as I was about giving the community the information that is rarely shared with us. In order for us to make the right decisions, we've got to know the right information. And then I came to find that he was a descendant of this and we would call it Native Americans. And I'm just going to tell you, he has schooled me like no other. And to find out that he could be my cousin or my uncle or my long distance, we've lost a lot of what we had here in America because we just didn't learn. We weren't taught. I've always known that my family had our blood was Choctaw India. Indian, Choctaw Indian. And we had some Blackfoot that I could trace, but we really didn't understand that history. And in meeting Randall, he has really brought a lot of things to the forefront. So he and I had an opportunity, as you heard last week, to commune, to come together, to break bread, and kind of talk about some things. And he taught me about something called Turtle Island. And I thought it was some faraway place, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to introduce you all to Randall Ware. And he's going to tell you about his organization, why they're using Bitcoin. And we're going to spoon feed you to help you understand this information. So please tell us about the Aboriginal descendants of Turtle Island. But first of all, what is Turtle Island, my brother?
That would be America, Naja. That is what we call this piece of land. We called it Turtle Island because if you zoom out, it looks like a turtle. And just to let you all know who I am, I'm from Natchez, Mississippi. That's the land of the Choctaw. I've been married for 30 years. My wife is from East India. So she's from India. So it's sort of like East India meets West Indian. So we're West Indian, she's East Indian. And so we came together. We have 3 lovely daughters. And I do want to give some shout outs to the research guy and also Dane Calloway for their contributions to educating people about the history of our country and the many things that we had to go through. A lot of you all, what inspired me to start Adoti was a lot of our great leaders that's been alive. And one of them was Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, we all hear his speech about I have a dream, but you never really hear about his speech that he gave while he was in a Birmingham jail, his letter while in the Birmingham jail. And in that letter, he alludes to, he says that before the Pilgrims came here, we were here. Before the words were etched on the Declaration of Independence, we were here. Now, for a lot of us like myself, that's something we always knew because the way information is passed down through is verbally. And many of you on this call, on this podcast, may have had a grandparent that told you your past grandparent, female, they always said your grandmother was Indian, right? That's because they knew that was important to tell you. You hardly ever hear them say your grandfather was Indian. You hear them say your grandmother was Indian because we are matriarchal in nature. That's how the cultures were, the tribes. And so it was important that brave person in your family, who people probably thought was crazy, told you that your grandmother, so that, because you are what your grandmother is. Now, over the years, we have been called many things, and it's nothing despairing about those things. We've been called mulatto, we've been called black, we've been called Negroes, we've been called African Americans. But now is a time where, for those who know who they are, we can stand up now and be proud. Be proud of who you are, and Bitcoin, in my belief, Naja, it gives us, we may have lost sovereignty of our lands, and we may have had to assimilate, meaning that we assimilated so much that we forgot who we were, right? But along the way, we created really good things: artwork, jazz music, blues, inventions. We have a lot still to be proud of. We weren't necessarily hopping around fires and doing powwows, but we were doing a whole bunch of great things, and our ancestors would be proud of us, of the things that we've done, the contributions that we made to society, even though we had to assimilate. But we can get our sovereignty back, I believe, through Bitcoin. Now you might say, well, how can you do that? It's because Bitcoin allows us to have our sovereignty back with what matters the most: your money. You hear a lot of people say, oh, you see on the internet, people say, I'm going to be sovereign. I don't need to have a driver's license. I could just drive around. I don't need to obey laws because I'm sovereign. How you going to be sovereign and broke?
Yeah,
right?
That's absolutely correct. How are you going to be sovereign and broke? And so that's what we're trying to get our community to understand. We've got to control our own money. But I mean, our ancestors, and let me just circle back really quick, because you mentioned all the things that we have been called over the years. What should we be claiming moving forward? What specific terminology should we be claiming as our own? And you help me with this, because I have a book coming out, and unfortunately I wasn't able to correct it before it hits the market. But what should we be calling ourselves? Should we be calling ourselves Black or African American? What do you feel, or what do you know that we should politically correctly be calling ourselves?
Well, that's a lot to unpack, because you have to know what you were called first. And going back to that, it's not something to be ashamed of. That is what it is. But you go back to Noah Webster's dictionary in 1828. He defines what American is, and he said originally applied to the Aboriginal descendants or copper-colored race found here, but later applied to the descendants of Europeans, right? So these are your Native Americans, because Native Americans, yes, they many of them share this blood with us too, but they also have a rich history when it comes to the European side, and we refer to ourselves as American Indians. We're not natives. We were already here. We're Aborigine. And so that's why we call ourselves American Indians. So, and I think it's a time now for all of us, whether and there's many of us that are African Americans, and properly so. And I'll tell you why. And you guys, if you have your pencils, you might want to write this down. If you go and look at the census, the 1930 census, United States Census, instructions to the enumerators. The instructions to the enumerators for instruction 151 and 152 had to deal with a problem. 151 had to deal with if a Negro is mixed with a white person, they should be a Negro. Then they had to deal with the children of Indians that were being called black and mulatto. It said, okay, those two without distinction will go back to being Negroes. And then if a Negro, which was an African, let me define that, right, was mixed with an Indian, mixed with us, they would also be called the Negro. But instruction 152 says that if we mix with a white person, then that person will be returned as an Indian. So all of us, the common thread, whether they are calling themselves white or black, if they have Indian in them, then we just one big family that's been taught to fight with each other. And if you're African, that just simply means that you have a proud African American. That means someone in your family was brought here, either by force or trickery. Maybe they came as an indentured servant, with the hopes of doing better. Or maybe they was bought by a conflict happened over there between tribes in Africa, and a mercenary, religious mercenary said that they would bring them over here instead of them being killed. So right now, through Adoti, our goal is to bring together all non-reservation Indians, because a lot of times we're not accepted on the reservations because of our skin color. And that's just one of the diseases that's perpetrated the reservations. And I travel and see different reservations around the country. And you probably wouldn't want to live on one because they're very poor. And I believe that they miss out because they disenfranchised from us and we're disenfranchised from them. They were given the reservations, we were given the projects. Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
Huh?
No. I said absolutely. And so I think people need to realize that, because especially here in California, we think that Indians are well-to-do because a lot of them have casinos and they're getting casino money and all of those sort of things. But, just with you traveling around the country to see these different tribes and really understanding that they don't have all the money that people think, I think it's important. And I think that's why Bitcoin is so important to these communities. And go ahead.
And Naja, a lot of the tribes suffer from being unbanked because a lot of the banks don't want to deal with the tribes. So you have problems. So through Bitcoin, we can get back our financial sovereignty and self-determination. We can hedge against inflation and dollar dependence. Then sending money back and forth through the tribe, even though we're in the United States, sending it through remittances like Bitcoin and the Lightning Network also is a good thing, right? And we might not be able to get our land back, but there's the digital real estate that Bitcoin offers. And if we miss this time to get the digital real estate back, right, then we're just going to miss out. And with Adoti, our goal is to bring back all of non-reservation Indians and African Americans. That just means that they have Negro and Indian mixed, right? So that means that we need to come together, and Bitcoin allows us to come together. One of the projects we're working on is, and we're being successful with, is growing our network. And we're starting with 1,000 people. You want me to talk about that right now or wait?
Well, you know what we're going to do, because I want you to really break that down to us so that we understand. And ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. What he's talking about through the Aboriginal descendants of Turtle Island, we need to be doing in every hood across this United States. So I want you to take the time and really break that down for us in a succinct way, so we will have some marching orders once we leave here today, because my goal is not just to talk to you all, but that we are taking sizable actions that can really affect change in our lives, in our community. We're at the bottom of the hour and we have news, sports, and traffic that is going to be coming in just a few. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time to really grab a hold of some sort of technique, some sort of rhyme to reason to get yourself slowly acclimated to the cryptocurrency space, specifically Bitcoin. I say that all the time. But when we come forward after news, sports, and traffic, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, so we are on a 6-minute break with the radio station, but so let's just have a conversation real quick. Let's how many because like we've been in history class and we know history class doesn't and in different states is different things. But I never in my wildest imagination knew that the amount of Aboriginal or the people that were here when Columbus set foot on, they always say that, Columbus landed on Plymouth Rock, but Plymouth Rock landed on those individuals that were here. And last week when you were visiting me here at my house, you gave me the numbers, and I actually was shocked at how many
it was about 140 million.
140
people already here.
Were here.
Now keep in mind, Naja, Columbus never set foot on. He set foot on the islands of America, but he never set foot here. The Pilgrims set foot here on Plymouth. They came, but it was millions of us here. And what they were doing is they were shipping us from here to different of the islands of America. They were shipping us to Bermuda. They were shipping us to Jamaica. And they had so much of us here. There was no real reason for them to really go to Africa. I mean, because the Africans wouldn't know our land. I'll give you a story. One of our, as Andrew Jackson was pushing everybody, pushing us further west, right? Many of us, especially our ancestors in Georgia, one of our elders, who's about 70 years old right now, he shared a story with us that the land that they have in Glasscock County, they got to stay back. Their ancestors didn't go on the Trail of Tears. They stayed back because the settlers didn't know how to grow food. And so when Georgia was portioning out the land, they got to stay on their land, and they got to keep 100 acres of the land, which we still have to this day, right? But they had to agree to share the crops that they grow with the new owners. So they became sharecroppers in a business arrangement on their own land. And some people, the way it's taught in school is sharecropper, some master was mastering over the person. No, that wasn't the case a lot of times. It's just simply we had to give up our culture. We couldn't speak the language, and we had to agree to that sharecropping agreement on our own land. And that's not taught in school.
No, it's definitely not taught in schools. And so, and I have to say, a lot of things since I've met you, I don't know, I've been almost 10 years probably. A lot of things that you've shared have been really critically important. And while we have some time, even though we're talking about the reservations and, folks that were here long before, and I honestly, until you just said it, I never even cared to know that Columbus didn't set foot over here. I just always took whatever word that they said. And so that's
how they taught it in school. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how they taught it in school. And so he's bringing me back in 10 seconds. So we'll jump in. So again, thank you for that little history lesson while we were on our break. And so we'll be headed back in just a second. All right, welcome forward. And as you heard, we have the illustrious Randall Ware with us today, and he's sharing information about the Aboriginal descendants of Turtle Island and what they're doing to preserve their communities, but also go from surviving to thriving. And so he's using
Yeah.
Bitcoin to do that specifically. So, Randall, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Bitcoin and what the goal is for the community.
Okay. I'm going to start here with the proof of work. What got me excited, then I'm going to go to our elder who is supporting us in this. When I looked at it, I said, there was one time in this country that the dollar was backed by gold, right? And gold is backed by time and energy because it can't just pop up out of thin air. You can't just create out of thin air. You need time and energy to dig it up and mine it out the ground. And then when I saw Bitcoin, I was like, wait a minute. Bitcoin is backed by time and energy because you have all these big computers, and whether it's individual or large mining machines mining Bitcoin, and that takes time and energy too. So that's back. Real money is backed by time and energy. And then I said, what about my paycheck? At the end of the week, I get a paycheck. That paycheck is backed by time and energy that I gave, right? And so we started to look at that and buy Bitcoin, and then we had to share it with our elders. And one of our elders, he said, I don't know much about this, and it's very confusing to me. But he said, just like you, the younger people in the tribe have to listen to the older people. He said there comes a time where the older people have to listen to the younger people because we might not understand why they give us advice as young people, why the elders want us to do this way. That seems so outdated, right? But we still have to listen because they have a reason why they tell us to do things a certain way. And now they believe they have to listen to us, even though they don't understand everything. Because he said, I have all this money in the bank, but my money never grows unless I add more to it. And so he bought 1 million Satoshis last year. He didn't know, he just trusted us and he bought it. And the next year, toward the end of 2024, that 1,000 in USD value was worth more than 2,000. And we made a joke about him, and he gave me permission. I can say this joke about him. He's one of those kind of older elders that have a Facebook page. And his Facebook page, he looked real young, right? Because he used his young picture. And we said, the dollars is just like your Facebook page. It looks the same. It doesn't change. I said, but if a female was to take you out on a date, I said, she would find out that you're not that young person anymore. I said, that's the same thing with the dollars when you take them out on a date to the grocery store. I said, they don't spend the same.
They don't
because
spend the
they
same.
get devalued. Right?
They do not spend the same. And that's
so,
a great analogy.
Mm-hmm. And so that led to them saying, the elders saying, well, what if we have 1,000 of us and each 1,000 just get 1 million Satoshis? That would make our network 1 million strong.
Well, let me pause right there because we want to make sure that everybody is understanding what you're saying. 1 million Satoshi. So for those of you that don't know, a Satoshi is a small fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like there is 100 pennies in a dollar, there's 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. So they're buying 1 million Satoshis, which makes them a millionaire, a Satoshi millionaire. But anyway, so that 1 million Satoshis by how many people did you say? 1,000?
Actually, yeah, it's 1 million Satoshis per person. But $1,000 was spent for that. So that means $1,000 times 1,000 people. That means our network in USD is worth $1 million. And the network up in Satoshis is worth way more than that. That's 100. That's 1 million times 1,000. So it's about $1 billion, right?
Absolutely. That is incredible. And that's incredible math. And y'all, the math is mathing. And so what are you doing in your community specifically to get people to get their million Satoshis? Because I know it's a challenge. You're dealing with a lot of seniors. You're dealing with people that are not necessarily technologically savvy. So what are you doing in that respect?
you'd be surprised, Naja. The seniors are the ones that's getting it. And I think we can attribute that to first, their faith in us, that we're doing our due diligence, but the fact that they've seen so much. They've seen before the cell phones came out. They've seen the internet come along. They've seen the .com era where millions was made, right? And now they see this new thing that they may not understand, just like they didn't understand the internet, but they just refuse. They come from sort of like a rebel class, because you got to look at many of them were around in the 60s and 70s. So they just got that fight blood in them. And once they understand, if you break it down, that Satoshis, their biggest thing was they didn't know what they looked at Bitcoin and say, I can't afford $100,000. But when we told them that the Satoshis is the same thing as Bitcoin, and then we told them that we asked them, do you know how many millionaires they have in the world? There's 56 million millionaires. Will only be 21 million Bitcoin ever created. So that means that there's not enough Bitcoin for each millionaire to get just one. So what are those millionaires fighting for right now? What is BlackRock? What are these big companies fighting for? Satoshis. Because there's 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis that will ever be created. And the good thing about it is the regular people get to buy it. So if that means if everybody on this podcast bought even $1, you would have over 1,000 Satoshis. And Naja, I want to say something very, very important. Last year, $1 could buy 2,500 Satoshis. This year, it can only buy 1,100 and something Satoshis. What does that tell you? That dollar is buying less and less of Satoshis. So right now, people should be buying, and this is not financial advice, but you should be saving your money in things that match your time and energy. When you save in dollars, it's not backed by time nor energy. It's just printed out of thin air. When you save in Satoshis, it's backed by time and energy. So you have to save in things that's like, you can't put apples and oranges. Apple can't be an orange, and $1 can't be time and energy. It's used to spend and to settle debts. That's all it's used for. But it never was meant to be saved in it.
I hope you all don't catch that on the way home, and you catch that right now and just really bask in what he just said. Why are you saving in an instrument that was used or is being used to settle debt? That is incredible. And so I'm just telling you, we can shut it down right there. That's the drop the mic moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be saving in things that allow us to participate in time and energy. And we just really feel, and I know Randall feels the same way that I feel. This is the one thing, as an ex-financial advisor, as a person that follows money, as a person that watches all these laws and rules and distractions, this is really the only thing I feel that can bona fide close the wealth gap. And I've looked at many different financial instruments. In fact, yesterday I forgot where I was, and somebody was like, "You don't invest in T-bonds anymore?" No, sir. I don't invest in T-bonds and never have, because I understand that they control that narrative. And, T-bills, T-bonds, whatever you want to call them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been doing the same thing that they've been telling us day in, day out, year in, year out, and we have been getting the same results, and that's nothing. So it is high time, the opportunity for us to be self-sovereign with our money and be self-sovereign with a lot of things. And one thing that I know that may have been fabricated and really not told to us correctly, the indigenous folks here in America have always, they may not have always had their own money, of course, and we're hearing from Randall that situations are different financially all across the United States, but they definitely had their own food.
Naja, can I say something?
Oh,
Can I say
absolutely. Go
something?
ahead.
We had
Yes.
wampum beads. We used to the shells from the ocean, from the water. We take those beads because they only would come up only at certain times. And many of the tribes use wampum beads, and it's like glass, look like a glass. But then when and that was valuable because it was hard to come up about. So scarcity, and it was traded. But when the Europeans came and they learned how to fabricate those things, they learned how to make them fake ones. And then they introduced that into the society. And so eventually, because so many of them was around, it became common, like rocks. And so now that debased a system that was based on sound money.
All right. Well, again, Randall schools me again. Now I'm doing all of this education, and you getting ready to make me, before I get to Miami next week, have some of those beads in my possession so I can educate the kids as to what other forms of money have been out there, because I do that well.
I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to get it and show it to you. Hold up a second.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. I'm late coming out on my break, y'all, but just stay tuned. I want to see this because I'm educating. And for those of you that don't know, I will be in Miami next week for the Black College Expo this weekend. Coming up, I'll be at the Black College Expo in Miami. All those.
These are wampum beads. Wampum, right here.
How do you spell that? Okay. Wampum beads.
Yeah, these are wampums right here. That's what's traded for money. That was traded as money.
Those come up in the ocean.
Yeah, and when they learned how to copy these, then they just flooded the system with them. God knows how much stuff they was able to get from us with counterfeit wampum beads.
Okay, wampum shells. I see it. So I'm gonna order some on Amazon. Okay, that's good. And see, a teaching moment. We all learn things. I had no idea about a wampum bead. And so
when
now
the money is corrupted, money is corrupted. They're doing the same with the dollars, just printing and making more of them. And so people have to work for something that somebody else can just print out of thin air. Why would you save your money in that?
It's not fair, definitely. Well, we're gonna come back in just a second, and then we're gonna talk about how you're able to get each one of them to start to save, and any other challenges that you may be facing. I know you said it's not quite difficult because they're saying that they want to participate, but once we come back on, any challenges or anything that people need to look out for. I know that you do a lot of different things, including, but we'll get back to it on the air so they can hear that. And then I'm gonna probably end with just the price of Bitcoin, because
what is it now? I haven't even looked at it.
I'm looking right now. Today it is at, I just saw something that said it was like 96, but it's 93. It's 93. So Bitcoin is trading at 93,300, and then Ethereum is at 2,400. So yeah, it's back up. Okay, so we're coming back in.
Okay.
Hold on one second. All right, welcome forward. So we were hearing from Randall, and we heard some good information. And so I'm going to order myself some wampum beads for Miami, Florida. This will be the first group of college-bound students that I am going to educate about this different form of money. And there's been all sorts of monies out there, but Randall brought out a very interesting fact during our commercial. He said, why would you invest in something that you have to work for and everyone else is printing? And I don't want to say everyone else, the powers that be are printing and you're working for it, but you're investing in that thing. So with that, Randall, what obstacles do you see or have? How would you want to admonish people or have them really focus if they want to start to educate people in their community? What should be some of their first steps to really getting those around them, their elders, to really start to take notice about this Bitcoin and what it can do for their community? What would you suggest?
I would suggest, well, one, can I a selfish plug my proof of work Bitcoin Unlocked book that's coming out in April on Amazon. That would be a good start. But I think just starting with some basics, one of the things that we shared with our elders, it was a cartoon, but the cartoon helped break it down, and it was by the Tuttle twins. And so I think showing something entertainment and cartoonish, could help. And I'll send you those links to that, Naja. That way you can post it on the next session that you do. But doing that, but the biggest obstacle is people going to that the people in our tribes wanted to know, well, how we spend this. We got to pay our rent. We got to pay bills. We still need to buy stuff, and the grocery store doesn't take the Bitcoin, right? And so one of the ways we was able to get around that was through an app called Strike, because Strike allows us now to be paid our paychecks in Bitcoin. And when that's hooked as a payment source to your credit card, you can just use your credit card for day-to-day living, and then you pay off the credit card with your Satoshis, and so we solved that, and so that made it a whole lot easier. But for most people who just used to sending their money to the bank, that's going to take, that's a little hurdle. So we had them kind of like do little by little, because with the Strike app, you can decide how much dollars you want your paycheck to be in and how much Bitcoin you want your check to be in, right? Some of our elders just went 100%. So that means 100% of their Social Security check, they just get paid in Bitcoin.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, that is a game changer. And I am so glad. I'm telling you, Randall was here at my house last weekend, and I was just like, man, iron sharpens iron. And sometimes you miss things. And I didn't even realize how powerful it is to be able to have a senior put their entire Social Security check into Bitcoin. And I'm around here I'm going to say tiptoe. Well, you don't want to put your whole Social Security check into Bitcoin.
And know what happened, Naja? You know what happened?
What?
When Bitcoin was going down, she called and said, I got way more Satoshis than I got the last time. Because the Strike app measures it in Satoshis. That's what it shows you. It just it shows you Satoshis. So she's got millions of them.
Wow.
And here's what we realize. It's a difference, because when your paycheck when your paycheck goes to the bank, right, then your relationship with the bank is different from when you get paid in Bitcoin. When your relationship with the bank, you are the creditor and the bank is the borrower. So that means on the bank's books, you're seen as a asset and a liability at the same time. And when it's time to share in the profit, they give you 0.01%. And guess what? They have every right to do that. They have every right, because you gave them your money to borrow. And if you borrow somebody money, you the one get the right to get the reward and the risk. So when they lend out your money and give it as investments and credit cards, they're not guaranteed that the person's going to pay the mortgage or the credit card payment. So they took the risk. So that's why they get to make all the money. But when you're getting paid in Bitcoin and the credit card is what you got tied to it, so they can buy your milk, pay your rent, whatever. And then that's going to cause you to have different spending habits because you're not going to want to just spend leisurely because you know if you spend it, yes, you got to pay the credit card, but look how the relationship changes. You're now the borrower getting to take all the risk and reward that Bitcoin has to offer. Is ups and downs. So when it goes down, your paycheck just buys even more Satoshis at that time, but you still have that same amount of money, right? But when the credit card company comes to ask for their money, you get to make all the choices. Well, Bitcoin looked like it's doing good or bad. You only get to withdraw the minimum. Just like the bank, when you send your money to the bank, they say you can only withdraw $1,500 a day, right? Well, when you get it paid in Bitcoin, you get to tell the credit card company, well, you're only going to get the minimum this month. It doesn't mean you don't have the money. It's still there, but you're letting it grow or do whatever it's going to do. You get to decide whether they get the maximum or the minimum. You have the power now.
All right. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he is changing the game for me in a certain way. And there are some things and some ways that I need to move because I definitely have a paycheck or two that can go directly into Bitcoin. And I'm going to follow suit. And I'm going to share with you all how and what that looks like, because I'm definitely going to set that up this week. When we come forward, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, Randall, for the people that are online, share with us how we get in contact with you. How do we get in contact with you? And do you get a referral fee for signing people up on Strike?
Oh, the way Strike works, because it's a really noble company. They don't try to get people in with getting like referral fees, but each person gets fee credits. So let's say, for example, when I send you a referral link or you send a referral link, when they buy Bitcoin, then you're going to get up to $500 in referral fee credits. That means when you buy Bitcoin up to $500, there's no fees charged on it. And so that's the way awesome. They're able to do that. Yeah. And so you can, the more people you refer. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me your link. And then for people that are asking, they can get your link directly. Everybody that's on this call, if you have time, or if we have time, if you can post it in the comments. And then everybody can sign up through you. That will be awesome, including myself. So we're going, I'm coming back in 30 seconds. So let me go ahead. But you have social media that people can also, because I want that to go across the radio.
Yeah, we're putting together the proper mindset.
Okay, hold on 1 second, because he told me 10 seconds, 5 seconds. But see if you could type that into the chat. We'll stay on a second so people can.
I'm going to paste it. I'm going to send it to my email and then paste it.
All right. All right. Welcome forward. Welcome forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know I'm always about doing, and I'm not even going to call this an experiment online, but I'm going to sign up for my Strike account this week, and I'll be letting you all know how it's going. And I'm going to be very transparent because I really feel that if somebody has a good system that's working and the community is really embracing it, we need to not worry about being a copycat. Just copy the right cat. And I really like what I hear, and I really like how this can affect change in our community, and I'm going to do exactly that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask Randall to share with us how you can get in contact with him. I got him on speed dial. He left my house last week. But how can you get in contact with Randall Ware? Randall, tell us how we can contact you.
Yes, you can reach me by email, and I'll put that in the chat. How do I do that?
All right. I'll make sure that I get it to the
rware at webline.us.
rware at webline.
Webline, WEBLINE.us.
Okay, repeat it one more time.
rware at webline.us.
All right. Well, we will definitely make sure that everybody gets that information. And if you didn't catch that, you can send me a text message to 317-7373. And again, that number is 424-317-7373. We are at the top of the hour, and I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you for rocking with me here on Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, one Satoshi at a time, ladies and gentlemen. Have an incredible.
I got an offer for you. I got an offer for you, Naja, because the people who.
Peace and blessings, fam. Hold on one sec.
Sorry.
You're listening to Naja Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Naja Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Naja Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn. Learn or get left behind. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.
All right, now you can give us that proposition. What's going on, my brother?
Okay. How many people you have in your? I just sent you the Strike app.
Okay, let's see. You sent it via, let's see, in the comments.
I sent it to private chat because I can't type in the comments for some reason.
Oh, okay. I got it. So this is your link for Strike. Strike, and I'm gonna put it in the chat for everybody in the studio. Hold on. So if you all want to sign up with Strike, please do so. Please do so. How did I get that 1 p.m. in there? Let me see. Take that 1 p.m. out. But anyway, this is the Strike app. So let me tell you what I'm about to do, because I didn't even realize that I could use. I know about Strike, but I didn't know that I could actually deposit checks in the Strike. So there's a check that I have that's from royalties from property that's in Shreveport, Louisiana that I have. And I'm going to get a direct deposit in there because that money I put it into Bitcoin anyway, but it might as well do it automatically for me. So let me ask you a question about Strike. How so you're able to move once you put the money in through your checking account or however you're putting it in, you're able to pull that off and put it into your individual wallet, correct?
Yes, you can put it in your individual wallet. There's a lot of options that you can do. Once you set up the account, you're going to have a regular checking account number and a routing number. And with that checking account and routing number, they also make it where you can do direct deposit, like with your job, right? When I first started, because, you know, you don't just jump right into stuff because I have to give good advice. I have to be the guinea pig. So what I did is I made my check where it was 80% into Chase and 20% into the Bitcoin Satoshi Bank, right? And then what I did is because you have if you have a credit card, you kind of know what I'm about to say. When you log in, when you get the bill, you can log into your credit card account and you can pay it with a bank account that's probably attached to it. Like you have your bank account attached to it. And so you go and you pick the bank that you're paying and then you pay the minimum or the maximum. At least that's how it is on American Express, right? And so that's how you're able to spend the Satoshis, right? Because when it's time to pay the bill, because all American Express is going to ask you for a routing number and an account number to set it up as a payment method, right?
Okay.
And so now you're able to use the Satoshis for everything that you need to do, you know? And so I ended up moving that. I changed it once I saw how it worked. It was working really smooth. Then I changed it to 80% going into get paid at 80% of Bitcoin, 20% Chase, because the only reason I did that is because Chase wants you to have direct deposit, or they're going to charge you fees just to use their bank.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. But if you have direct deposit, I give them the minimum little deposit that they can get. But then I end up buying Bitcoin with that anyway once it's in there. But then now you can transact with that how you want to.
All right. Well, I appreciate that intel. I appreciate your knowledge. And I just want to thank you for each and every one of you that have held on past our hour. Again, my show is Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I am on KBLA Talk 1580, which you just kind of heard some of it. Well, you heard most. You guys get more online than they do on the
The
radio.
first
So
100 people, Naja, the first 100 people to text you right now, the first 100 people to put in a chat that you can send to me, right? That test their commitment to doing better. I will do better. They chat that to you. If they type it in the thing, I will do better, right? The first 100 people, they're gonna get 5,000 satoshis when they set up their app. So I'm committed to
what?
$500. That's gonna cost me 500 fiat dollars, but that's gonna cost me thousands of satoshis that I probably look back in the future and say,
In the
"Whoa!"
future,
Just like that guy. Remember that guy
like
bought
I
the 10,000 the pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin?
yeah,
He's
two
probably
pieces,
like,
2,000 Bitcoin.
that's worth $1 billion now. You know,
And
so
I talk to him all the time, and y'all will not. And look, Marion Bryan said, I will do better. So, guess what, Marion? You're actually the first person, and I know I probably got some text messages too. But I'm gonna get you use his link to sign up with Strike, and then I'm gonna put you two in contact so you can take care of that. And I appreciate that offer. And I know I'm gonna get some text messages. Send me a
yeah,
text message.
anybody who do
Joyce
that, give them my phone number. Give them my phone
All
number. They
right.
can call me because I know they all have questions.
All right, there's Marion Bryant, there's Joyce Fountain, a couple of other folks, but we're gonna go ahead and end the live stream and send me a text message and I'll get you in contact with Randall so he can get you your Satoshis. Peace and blessings, fam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the most important thing. Let me see what this says. You know, I'm always should have talked. You should talked about other stuff other than Bitcoin. Well, let me just tell you this, Hitch Hemingway, and I respect that. So I'm gonna put that up there. That we should have talked about other stuff other than Bitcoin. We can, but guess what? We were talking about what Randall is doing with his community. So other people may be doing other things, but the Aboriginal descendants of Turtle Island are saving in Bitcoin specifically. So we can't talk about other coins if that's what he's doing. And so I got Jerry Mosley. You guys send me a text message too. You got my text message number. And I'm gonna stick it up here. And he said because of what the president posted today. And we can talk about those things, but that's not what we know is surefire way to get our communities out of this generational wealth gap.
Can I
Now
say
we can
something, Nasha?
go
Can I
ahead, go
say
ahead.
something? I want
Yes.
everybody on this call to know one thing. You have the Most High, whoever you serve, and yourself has all you ever needed. My grandmother used to tell us about the political parties here. She said they're two cheeks of the same backside. If I had to vote for a president, I would vote for Rashonda Castell, Marciela Abram, Naja Roberts, because you guys prove every day that you make a difference. So we don't need the politicians. We just need each other. That's all we ever needed. That's all we ever needed. Once you get out of that, we don't need them. They don't know and they can't do anything for us. Whether they're a Republican or Democratic president, they don't know us. We don't exist. But we exist to each other. And once we realize that you have everything you need to succeed, we don't need no handouts. We don't need nothing from the fiat thing. We just need to change our mindset and have a proper mindset. We're all we need in the Most High. He gave us everything we need.
Right. And so I appreciate that. And Hitch, I'm not going to put all of the comments up there, but I appreciate your comments. And you said that you worked at Coinbase and you live in Washington, D.C. And with all due respect, I appreciate that. I have, and just so you know who maybe I am, I'm the one that went back and forth arguing with Brian Armstrong about his treatment of Black employees at Coinbase. That be me. So I'm not ashamed to let you know I am
President Naja
unapologetic,
Roberts.
folks. And I'm unapologetically about people being treated the way they needed to be treated. And I know that there were some board meetings where folks showed up, and it might not necessarily have been you, but there's been a lot of problems, which is why I do not and will never, ever, ever promote Coinbase, because I know how Brian Armstrong feels, because he's been able to share that with me and I've been able to share that with him. And I understand, that we're stepping into the same traditional financial services space that we've been in mindset wise, where just as he stated, they don't care about what it is, the plight of our community. They could care less as long as their pockets are lined and things are going in their direction. Now, again, being politically correct, there's a whole lot of stuff that I could say that I don't share because it just is time appropriate. But the reason why we're talking about Bitcoin today is because there are we've seen, not through theory, and it don't sound good, my brother, because it sounds good to tell you that I had seniors several years ago that said, honey, I'm giving you this money because I'm on a fixed income. But it does sound good, and it's not just in theory that today they can look at an account where they gave me $4,100 or $3,500 that now has $93,000 in it. So no, it don't just sound good. I don't play games. I don't sell crack to my community, so you can't come to this channel and get me talking about BS. Yes, they may get rich quick a couple of times, but for the most part, our community loses because we're last to figure out when to get in and out of those markets. So what I am going to do is be safe for our community. And now if they want to do something in addition to being safe, then they can do that. But I just want to just share with you a little bit about me, since you told me you worked at Coinbase, you lived in DC, and I'll be in DC, and I would love to see you. In fact, when am I headed to DC to teach at the Black College Expo? I'd love to see you. I think we're going to be at Howard University. But you can go to the Black College Expo and you can come meet me in DC. I love a challenge. No arguing or anything, because there's no right and wrong in this. There is a safe and an unsafe in this, but there is no right and wrong. And there are distractions. And so I don't want our community to be so distracted thinking they're going to get ahead and do some other things. And one of the things that I also uncovered, and I'm not going to absolutely. So Hitch, let's get together. You got my phone number, which is 424-317-7373. Send me a text message. Let's jump in. Let's get it together. And you're absolutely right. I'm not about a challenge. I am about trying to help and make sure. And I can't help by selling our community crack. So there's a lot of things I don't talk about. And most of it isn't about my personal feelings. Is about me actually knowing who the owners are and what their real intentions are for the coins that they're shuffling off to our community. So with that, much love to each and every one of you. I do know everything is changing. You're absolutely correct. Everything is changing. And if you listen to my past shows in the last couple of weeks, you'll hear me say that in March, things are changing. Things are changing. Everybody is going to have to be on the ISO 200 2020. It's 2022 20022. So if you don't know about that, read about it. I'm looking forward to it and extend and this is what I do all week, every week. So not just on Sundays. I just happen to be on a radio show where Tavis Smiley gave me a platform to teach ahead of the crypto curve. And I mostly talk about Bitcoin because I mostly know it's safe. Other stuff we talk about. So we can do that. And I can have you on the show too. So let's get with it. And I appreciate you. I don't know, Randall, if you want to say something. Me and Hitch went on one. And Hitch,
yeah, it's young people like him that we have to protect the young people. Yeah. We have to protect people like Hitch and our elders, because tomorrow is the tomorrow that they will make of it. And so one of the things I like to see the younger people do is we got to get away from all of the hatred and stuff. We have to get away from being reduced down to crayons. You know, both white and people who they call white and black, they come from a rich history from somewhere, you know, so they both need to not allow somebody to reduce them down to a crayon. And the future belongs to people like Hitch, you know. It's the trust but verify.
Yeah.
The trust but verify generation.
And Hitch wanted us to know that his photo is from 2020. 2002, just like you talked about your person online that had an old picture. So Hitch, when I see you in DC, I'm gonna be not looking to see that Hitch, but the new and improved and seasoned Hitch, right? So I appreciate y'all. And Hitch, once you get to know me, you're gonna love me. Yeah, I'll fight for my folks. Look, I'm a fighter. I'm a lover when it comes to just loving my community, but I'm a fighter too. So I appreciate you. And I look forward really to meeting you in DC. And I'm gonna look while I'm on here because I'm on tour with the Black College Expo. I'll be in Atlanta, Chicago, DC, North Carolina, and Miami. Black College Expo. Hold on. Let me type it and I can let you all know what my dates are. If I can get something posted up here. The Black College Expo, we're in Miami on the 8th. I'm in DC on the 15th. So we can meet the 15th and go to dinner, do something. I love to eat dinner, have dinner with you. I got to go visit my new grandbaby in New Jersey. So I'm leaving from DC, driving up to Jersey, taking a 4-hour trip. And then I'm in North Carolina on the 20th of March. And then I am in Atlanta that next weekend, I think. So I'm looking, or that next week, somewhere in there. But I appreciate you all. Please follow me on social media. I'm mostly Bitcoin only. So don't get on there and be like, well, you should have did this. But I also have some tokens. I have some tokens that I do for other things, for projects. If you're working on a project, then you got to have one of their tokens, right? So, but for savings and security, I choose Bitcoin. I love y'all. What you got to say, Randall?
So Naja, just send me the list because it won't be for people who commenting after your show over. Just send me that list as of you stopping the thing, so I know who I need to give the Satoshis to.
I'll copy my chat right now. And again, I appreciate you all and have an incredible rest of your day. Peace and blessings.
Naja,
family.
Thanks for everything you do, sis.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.